You're all flustered. You're never flustered.
No, well, we had an Emmitt Smith moment just now.
He got me.
We had an Emmitt Smith moment
What
just
happened?
now.
Because
I went to dap him up, and he gave me like the corporate handshake, and I'm like, "What the hell is this?"
I did do the corporate handshake,
Yeah,
but I was
like,
actually
what
not. I wasn't in my right mind right now. This is what C does to me. It's always awkward, and it's always my fault. I was wondering if I was going to get an IFB or a headset. So I was like waiting for a second. So
he's just basically.
So I'm just doing like one of these, like, just. I did not do that.
What the hell is that?
We'll have the video replay.
What the hell is that? What the hell is that?
Is it because you're in a suit, so you feel
I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
but for CC, I did button this one. Just this one here.
I appreciate that.
Normally,
Yeah, I appreciate
this is
that.
not buttoned.
Don't go all the way down. Yeah,
but he
exactly.
gets very upset with me if
The
we
whole
go 2
Richard
buttons
Jefferson thing, when you got it all the way unbuttoned to your navel, I got a problem with that.
Uncomfortable with
got
that.
a problem with that.
Richard Jefferson can unbutton as many buttons as he wants to. He called in the show to defend me, so I support his wardrobe choices.
Now all of a sudden, right? He's
Here we
untouchable.
go.
Now RJ's
Here we
untouchable.
go. He agrees
Do we
with
have
Smalls.
though? I know we want to talk about real things, but
No.
I feel like we do need to have this discussion.
I won't.
But because you do it sometimes as well when we're on Get Up or other shows, and we all tend to wear ties.
Yes.
And we have had this thing going where it's like, Stephen A. dresses up well, obviously Shannon, everybody wears a tie. And it's like, Keyshawn used to say to me all the time, why are we wearing ties? We're talking sports. Like, why is it important to wear a tie? And Josh Hart, who's a Knick, I know him. He was obviously did games 1 and 2 for us on NBA Countdown. Didn't wear a tie, so he asked like, "How did I do?" And I said, "Well, we wear ties around here." And everybody jumped all over me like, "No, you don't have to wear a tie. Why are you wearing a tie?" So what is it? Do we need to wear a tie, or is it not necessary to wear a tie? Michelle, I start with you because again, with women, fashion is something that I think you have a lot more that you could bring to the table. With men, it's like a suit and that's it. We have nothing else we can do.
Yes.
I ask Monica this all the time as well. What do you think? Do you prefer a man wearing a tie when he's talking sports on TV, or does it not matter?
I think it's kind of antiquated to think that you have to wear the tie because fashion is self-expression. So if you come in one day and the tie feels too tight and it's stifling your takes, I don't want you to have to wear the tie just so you look a certain way on TV. I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to feel confident in your outfit, and that's going to lead to you being the best you can be on TV.
That's the only
See, I
answer
think it's
needed.
flipped, though. I think it's like if you look at corporate America, you usually have the tie on during the day, and then you take it off and you've got it unbuttoned when you go out for cocktails after work.
Right.
I think it's flipped when you're doing television. In the morning, no tie, cool, be comfortable, a little relaxed, a little more chill, because it's morning television. But when the sun goes down and you're doing NBA Countdown, or you're doing Monday Night Football, or you're doing postgame, I think you need to be buttoned up with the tie.
Does the show matter?
The show matters.
The level of the show?
The
Yeah.
level of the show, the eyeballs on the show, that matters.
Did you just bring up the day part mattering in this? Because, so Alan does a noon to 3 show on ESPN Radio in New York. What is he supposed to wear?
It's radio.
It's a
I wear whatever the hell I want. You don't know.
But just think about it.
As far as you know, I am wearing a suit.
Daytime television is more relaxed. Nighttime television is a little more serious, right? So that's all I'm saying.
But I don't think corporate America is wearing ties anymore. I really don't.
I think it's
you
a big
go for
topic.
an interview in corporate
Huge
America,
topic.
you're not going to wear a tie?
That's a good question. Do you wear it?
You're gonna
I'll put
wear-
it up
you're
there.
gonna- you're gonna-
Costello,
wear a tie.
put out the poll.
You're
Let's
gonna
go.
wear
Are we wearing a tie, or is the youth of today wearing a tie? Because there's all these surveys that are coming out saying that they don't.
No, they don't even know how to interview.
They don't come correct. They're bringing
They
their
wanna take
parents
parents
to
to interviews?
interviews.
Okay,
Exactly.
I saw that. Who in their right mind would bring their parents to an interview unless you're Bronny James?
I don't even think Bronny needs to bring his parents. He's got the
I think
name.
he's brought his.
If your parent is the one that set up the interview,
Yeah, there you go.
taking them with.
Unless you're Bronny James, who brings a parent to an interview?
Is there
Kids
anything
today.
more transparent than the fact that the Lakers brought in Bronny and they were very intrigued by the defense that he could bring to this team? Like, well, you really? Like, is this your first meeting with Bronny James?
Does
Come
Shador
on now.
Sanders
He hasn't
bring
been
his
around.
dad to his interview?
That's another
for his
one.
job?
That's a good answer. Yeah, Shador Sanders can bring his dad to the interview.
Okay.
I like that. That's a good one.
It's Friday. This is Friday radio. I love this. This is my favorite day
The
for
best.
radio.
It's the best.
The fashion conversation is really interesting.
Yeah, I think your listeners need to chime in on this.
Okay.
And what is
888 say
what is
ESPN 888-729-3776.
producing your show now?
Trust
Sorry,
me,
Nuno.
I'm good with it. Nuno may not be, but I am good with this. Do you wear a tie to work? Do you wear a tie? And when if for men, obviously, what would be the equivalent if you're?
Why does it just have to
well,
be
men
for
or
men?
women, whoever. It doesn't. I don't care.
Yeah, but the job matters.
Right.
Certain corporate
Right, if you're a
environments
construction
might
worker, I hope
require
you're not
a
wearing a tie.
Yeah, if you're working in construction, I don't think you need
That's
the
a
tie.
The
good
belief
move.
is dress for success. That's what people always say. But the tie thing has become, and again, I go back to Keyshawn. He's always like, why are you wearing a tie to talk sports?
But he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't wear a tie.
He does now, which is
Yeah, he
kind of
does.
funny.
The irony of it.
I always take a screenshot and send it to him, going, "Wear ties. You wear ties when you're working now, I guess."
But what happened to the rule of you'd rather be overdressed than underdressed, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, whatever happened to that rule?
Well, I went 12 years of Catholic school, so for me, I grew up wearing a tie. It was
Sure.
always just part of my every single
to
day.
school every day.
Every day.
Oh, that's awful.
No, wearing a uniform to school was the best thing ever because you didn't have to think
right.
about it.
Well,
you
no,
just
no, no. You knew
rolled
what you
out
were
of
wearing.
bed and put it on every
Two
day.
different
It was
things.
awesome.
Wearing a uniform, I agree with. Wearing a tie, different. Because both my kids are going to sleepaway camp this summer, and my daughter's camp is uniform. It's blue and white, right? I love that.
T-shirt and shorts, basically.
Yes, basically, yeah. I love that. Because people could be
it's
nasty
stressful.
to each other,
Yes.
right? So that's great. But the tie, as a youngster, that sounds awful to me.
It was not fun. But I will admit, for about the first 5 years, it was a clip-on. So
We're talking to Alan Hahn, who Alan and I went on a walk the other day.
Yep.
Just leave it at that.
Walks with Evan. It's going to be a book I write.
Nobody will buy it, not even me. How come we all knew the Lakers had to get to 9 figures for Danny Hurley and they didn't?
I find it interesting that it's not about the money, but the fact that they let him walk away. If that's your primary focus, if that's the guy that you wanted to hire, and you knew that after him, it does drop off, right, as far as candidates go. Not to be disrespectful to Borrego or to JJ, but it's just a reality of experience. There's not a lot out there. So you can't let him leave the room. You've got to do the Godfather, the offer he can't refuse. And once he left, and then we saw him at Billy Joel's last concert at MSG wearing a T-shirt that said New York, New York, we kind of knew that the answer was going to be no. So they went to 70. How bad did you want him? Because 100 is not out of the question for a coach in today's NBA. We've certainly seen it. And how bad did you want somebody that not only could coach for now, but coach for post-LeBron? How bad did they want him? Or did he make it clear, not really that interested? So they didn't even bother going to a higher number. He left. They knew he wasn't going to stay. And that was the end on Sunday. We didn't have to wait till Monday for the answer.
Luka Doncic has been under fire after the Mavs dropped Game 3 at home in Dallas. I'm curious, do you think the criticism toward Luka has been warranted, or is it something where we're having the overreaction because of the stage?
It's definitely overreaction because of the stage. I'm with you on that, CC, because I do think that, and I'm going to say this on Get Up, we can't forget the 3 rounds of playoff performance that he has given us, where he is still leading the playoffs in all 3 major categories. Like, he has had an epic run. What has happened is that he has hit a wall. And you say, I think I've gotten one of these phrases from you, is fatigue makes cowards of us all, right? And that is something we're seeing from him, is that he's realizing that. And we saw it in Game 1 when he checked out in the first 3 minutes of Game 1. The air is a little different in the NBA Finals.
Oh, no doubt.
It's a little different. Like, I'm sure the Super Bowl, I'm sure the air was a little different in the Super Bowl, right? All of a sudden, it's, whoa, this is a little thinner. It does happen. And I think he realized that. And he has been playing catch-up just like his team has been throughout the first 3 games. But what we saw at the end of Game 3, the petulance and, just the ugly of his game that we thought might have been covered up from great performances, it was exposed. Credit the Celtics for doing it, but also you have to hold him accountable for letting it come out on a big stage like this.
Yeah, I guess that's where I'm at. I certainly can't forget what I've seen from him on this run. He's been spectacular. But I also can't forget all of the times that I see him complaining and acting this way. And I think that moment was an inflection point on the biggest stage, and it certainly does hit different. The air is different in the finals, and I'm just wondering if it's enough for him to acknowledge it and want to make changes moving forward, because he did put his team in a bad position.
He's a highly competitive person. I don't know him personally, but I know a lot of people around him. I know people who are coaching him, and I've heard a lot about him. And the one thing I do know is that this is a guy that on a daily basis is incredibly competitive and demanding about where his team is heading and what they're doing with this team and all that stuff. So I do think he's maybe at this point feeling the pressure, and he's used to getting things to go his way. And when they don't, again, that's what we're kind of seeing, is an immaturity that is still in his game. And I think that's the part you hold him accountable for. We can't forget, though, that he's got a bad knee, which he's had the whole playoffs. He's got a rib issue that he's getting injections for just to be able to play, an ankle that's bothering him as well. There's a lot going on there with him. And I also, and this is going to be something he's going to have to figure out in his own life. This is going to be a decision he has to make. Look at yourself in the mirror. Physically look at yourself. and ask yourself, am I in elite condition? Because he's playing at an incredible level, and he's not really in elite condition. Imagine if he ever did buy into that.
You talking to me or Luka? I'm just curious. Okay, so
I was looking at myself in the mirror thinking the same thing.
last thing here with Alan Hahn, who's going to be on Get Up at 8 a.m. Eastern. I want to go back to one thing you said. Leads in points, rebounds, and assists. Nobody's questioning his greatness. The Boston Celtics are about to win a championship because they have 6 guys that are really good on offense and defense.
Yep.
That's one side of the ball that he's great at. Like, there's another part of this. And as Smalls mentioned, he always complains. Go back to 2021. I know you know this for the audience. Zach Lowe, Low Post Pod, ESPN.com, called him out in 2021, to which Mark Cuban, then the majority governor of the team, cursed him off on Twitter. Zach was right then, and he's right now. He doesn't stop complaining on defense. So there's 2 sides of this, and he's great on one side and a target on the other side.
There's been a lot of players in NBA history who are great players who do a lot of complaining. We have seen it. I mean, Nikola Jokic has bad body language too. A lot of times when things don't go his way, he might not be as demonstrative, but you see it a lot with him. We have seen LeBron James. LeBron James has done this at the highest stage when things don't go well for him. You see him making facial expressions. We have taken him on as well. It is not exclusive to Luka. The problem is because we are seeing it at this stage, and we are seeing him as somebody that your team can't win if you aren't playing your best. And we've seen it before. I just think it's what you said. It's because it's at this stage. It's exposed even more. The microscope is even stronger. And that's why we're talking about it. And if you're Jason Tatum, you love this because you're looking at Luka and you're going, hey, now you know what my life's been like the last couple of years, right? And that's what you expect. And here's the danger zone for Luka. He is somebody that I crowned him too soon. I thought he was the best player in the world, but I crowned him too soon because at this stage you're seeing him melt down. But now when this ends, this finals ends, is he going to be now heading closer to James Harden rather than closer to Nikola Jokic? That's a place right now that he's got to worry about.
So you're saying this is a crossroads for Luka in his career?
I think tonight's game is the most important game of his career, and it might remain the most important game of his career, depending